I was on skis before I can even remember. At the age of 3, my parents had me on skis, and even before that, I think when I was a newborn, my parents held me while they were skiing. So I've been around the water my whole life. When I was a kid, I didn't really love it. I didn't want to ski every day, and I think it was partly, as kids usually do, I wanted to find my own path. I wanted to do my own thing.
You know, when Dorien started skiing, it really wasn't about the competition, just as long as he was doing a sport that, you know, that he would enjoy it.
It really started around the age of 9. So I had gone to a couple tournaments and I had a couple trick scores. It was really small. It was only like 230 or 260 points. And then my cousin Sebastian, who we've been like brothers growing up, and he went out and I think he tricked like 320 points, like barely beat me. That got me going. At the age of 9, it was like, boom, everything flipped a switch and my competitive side kicked in, and you know, that bond between Sebastian and I, it really got me going to the point where I wanted to ski every day because I wanted to beat him. I've always kind of understood how amazing my parents were. Seeing my dad win so many tournaments and dealing with high pressure situations, and you know, even when he came up short, how well he handled those things. That didn't dawn on me how special it was that my parents were world champions and my uncle was a world champion, and how everybody around me was such a high-performing athlete or a high-performing person in general.
You know, for the path that Dorien's on and trying to break my records or any records, you know, it's how incredibly hard that is. The time and effort. I mean, people don't understand the competitive side to the sport and how intense it is to train that hard and to get to that level, to even beat a generation of a record that, you know, records are so high, you know, and they're not meant to be broken. I mean, that's why they're a record. They're not, you know, they're hard to come by. It's amazing that, you know, all his events are really strong, and tricks is right there, and he's probably going to break my trick record. You know, he will, because at this age, he's just on a path that, you know, he will, and it is incredible that at that age that he is going to start breaking records, and he did it at a young age, you know, junior records, but when you start getting up into the national open records or elite records and world records, you know, to hear him talk about that, he's got some lofty goals, and it's pretty cool to watch him grow through that.
3-event skiing is a battle. Every day it's a battle. You know, you wake up in the morning and instead of thinking, okay, I'm gonna ski once today or I'm gonna ski twice today, you wake up knowing I'm probably gonna ski 5 times today. It's probably gonna take me 3 hours of skiing. And by the end of it, I'm gonna be dead tired, I'm gonna pass out, but the next morning I gotta wake up and do it all over again. You have to put so much effort into each one. You slalom, you got so much pressure on your back as you're cutting through the wakes. You're going 70 miles an hour, flying into a buoy. Not only do you have to hold that load, but you have to be able to use it to carve out and make it around a buoy when the rope's actually shorter than the distance from the boat to the buoy. Then you have trick skiing, which is just countless hours and hours of trying new tricks and trying sequences and trying this new flip that, you know, you make it halfway around and you don't realize where you are in the air anymore because you haven't ever done something like that. So you just fall, and jump is pretty special, but at the same time, you know, that same feeling of having a lot of pressure through the wakes and coming at a 5.5 or a 6-foot ramp, and just that impact on the ramp. You know, it's hard, but then you get rewarded with the flight through the air. So in a way, they're all different, but at the same time, they're basically the same.
Water skiing is not your typical sport. It can be fairly brutal. Dorien does do all 3 events. I like to say it's the gladiator, and you know, and when you go to competitions, that's when you're going to push things. And it is definitely was easier for me to ski than to watch my own kid. And my father used to pace up and down. He was known as the pacer.
I've always wanted to live up to the name. That's always been one of my biggest goals. It's going to be really hard, and in a way, you look at what my dad's accomplished, and he was and probably will be the greatest 3-event skier of all time. In a way, it's not even enough to just beat the scores that he did, because that doesn't do justice to what he did in his time. You have to be the best skier of all time. The father-son relationship is so special for so many people that to be able to expand that into so many different areas of my life, it's really awesome.
No, Dorien and I have a pretty unique relationship because it's the father, son, and coach. we're fairly competitive. You know, we like to push each other. The smack talk is going around all the time. And Dorien, he's pretty, I mean, he's pretty smart. Like he should be a lawyer or something, because he could debate anything. So no matter what, he always flips on the other side on me. And when we get on the water, he pushes back a lot. And as he gets older, he's pushing back more, and he's got his ways, and I understand that. But when we get down to the competitions, and sometimes I got to let him run with it and let him learn, go through the bumps, you know, make mistakes. You know, that's part of learning.
I'm trying to trick 11,210 points, which is my dad's Canadian record. And that's something that I've been thinking about over the last year, and maybe the last year and a half, when it's actually kind of started to become a reality that I could break that record and become the only Canadian that has ever tricked more than 11,210 points. My parents' history and my grandparents' history, and you know, that's what makes it all mean something in the end.